Peace. It's the love dealer, Tunde Lotus, the Leather Wing Fairy, and this is our 6th episode of Tunde Talks. And today we're talking about our shadow selves. So, our shadow selves is more often the side of ourselves that we don't like to show to others. This is the side of ourselves that is the keeper of the skeletons in our closet, so to speak. So, our skeleton self is something that I really wanted to talk about, and we're excited to do this on this episode because this is something that I've personally been dealing with this week. I've been a little bit slow moving this week in putting out my videos and in my productivity overall, and I know that that is an extension of my shadow self. It's the side of myself that I don't like to acknowledge more often. It's the side of myself that is king or queen of procrastination. So this episode, I wanted to kind of set a mood for, a tone for. We're shooting a little bit later in the day. We're going to be putting this episode up a little bit later in the day, and we'll talk about why a little bit later in this episode. But this episode, I wanted to specifically speak about our negative side, okay? This is a side that more often in the spiritual community or community of people who like to uplift others or encourage others, is not often talked about, okay? I wouldn't say that I'm a part of that community. I am just a girl, just a black millennial who decided to make a YouTube channel to speak on some of the things that I go through on a daily. So I wouldn't say I'm a part of any particular community, but something that I see more often in the communities that I frequent, or the places that I frequent, and the people that I often seek guidance from or inspiration from, I see that a lot of the messages are very positive, and that's great, because I think that the world needs a lot more positivity and a lot more love. But I think we do need to acknowledge this side of ourselves because it's something that we have to battle every single day. My shadow self, or the side of myself that I don't like to speak about, or the side of myself that I take time to encourage and to break bad habits and to really work with, is my shadow self. And this side of myself is a procrastinator. This side of myself is lazy. This side of myself can be very demanding, moody even, this side of myself can, I can definitely slip into narcissism, that's perpetuated by the age of social media, that I want to be worshipped, like me, age. I slip into those moments at times. And we just all have those times when we know that we're experiencing some toxicity from unresolved issues, from the day-to-day, whatever it may be. Negativity is not something that we can always avoid, okay? And that is something that I want to speak to you about today. Avoidance. This is something that I think is detrimental in terms of our shadow self, because avoidance is essentially not acknowledging a problem, and avoidance is relinquishing responsibility, and we have to always hold ourselves accountable, because the number one principle of being mindful or mindfulness is accountability. So not knowing or not acknowledging that there is a problem is the fastest and the easiest way out of every situation, okay? So acknowledging our shadow self is something that people who hold themselves accountable and are generally mindful are very familiar with, okay? So your shadow self is something that you need to acknowledge, because this is how we correct these things. This is how we become better people in general. So if you know that, you're the type of person who maybe you're super crabby when you wake up in the morning. You don't have a good disposition when you wake up in the morning. You hate morning people. Maybe you're a person who procrastinates, such as I do. Maybe you're a person who says, I'm going to get it done, and you never do. Or maybe you're a person who doesn't communicate very well. Maybe you're not good at letting people know how you feel. Maybe you're not good at letting people know what's going on in your personal life, and maybe that's causing problems in your relationships, in your friendships, in your romantic relationships. We can never be the type of people that dump our garbage on other people and make other people accountable for our shit. You know, when we say, hey, what you should do is just know that this is a part of my character, and if you're going to be in my life, then you're just going to have to take it. You're going to have to suck it up. Nobody likes those people. What we know is we can be confident in ourselves and who we are and our identity and be strong with that. But we don't need to be the type of people that don't give other people space to live, okay? So we can't make other people live with our garbage just because we have to on a day-to-day, okay? If you don't like dealing with it, don't make other people deal with it. So what we do is we confront, we acknowledge, and we don't avoid our shadow selves. We're the type of people that take ourselves on head on, okay? So you have to know that your biggest enemy is yourself, and your biggest friend and biggest supporter is yourself as well. So acknowledge your shadow self just as much as you acknowledge the great qualities about yourself, okay? The next point that I want to talk about today is the oversaturation of positivity in communities where we seek guidance and inspiration, and the oversaturation of positivity in communities like the spiritual community. This is, in my opinion, only a one-sided perception of life. And a one-sided perception of life is going to lead a person astray. What we know about life is that there is polarity in everything. There is both negative and positive in everything. So acknowledging only the positive aspect of things is to only look at things in a one-sided view. And as well-rounded individuals, this isn't something that we do. So be mindful of the messages that you take on, both positive and negative. So we don't want to disillusion ourselves into thinking that life is a box of chocolates, okay? Because it's not. Okay, it's much more complicated than that, and well-rounded individuals enjoy complexity because we know it adds to our story, it adds to our character. The lesson and the true learned experience of spirituality and the messages of humbleness that I think anybody can benefit from in spirituality. I think that to truly get there, you have to go through the darkness, and you do have to acknowledge the negative and the negativity that there is that is present in life in general. The next point I want to bring forward is, just because we're the type of people that don't see everything through rose-colored glasses does not mean that we are villainizing everything in life, okay? Doesn't mean that we have to personify everything as being negative. So what I mean when I say that is, we don't have to make something out of nothing, for lack of better terms, okay? The negative side of things don't always have to be evil or villainized to be so intrinsically evil or intrinsically bad. Negativity doesn't always mean evil. Negativity is, just like anything else, a perception. So you can perceive a situation to be negative that may not ultimately be a bad thing. Okay, negative does not mean intrinsically evil. So we don't have to give every aspect of life the negative and positive, or the duality of negative and positive. We don't have to personify it to be intrinsically negative or completely good. We can totally go with the mixture of the two. It's okay for things to not be completely black and white. The gray area does exist, and there is one when it comes to you. So do not think that your shadow self means that you are intrinsically evil, or the qualities that you carry in your negative side are intrinsically bad or inherently bad, okay? So aspects of my negative or shadow self can be laziness or procrastination or neediness. But do I think that those qualities make me inherently bad or an inherently bad person? Or do I feel like when I'm experiencing those sides of myself, am I being or a bad person, or have I not learned lessons in life? No. Okay, this isn't something that we're going to use as a tool to bring ourselves down. We're using this as a tool to bring ourselves into a better space. We're using it as a tool to make ourselves better ultimately. So there are 3 points that I want to leave with you today, of course, about your shadow self or your negative side. The first point that I want to leave with you today is X avoidance. We don't avoid anything. As warriors and people who are fighting for truth and light, we don't avoid anything at all, okay? Confront yourself head on. If you feel like there are qualities that you may possess that aren't a part of your biggest view for yourself or your highest view for yourself, you need to acknowledge it and confront it and do something about it. The next point that I want to leave with you is take out your trash. Take out your own trash. Don't dump your garbage on other people. Don't be the type of person who says, this is just how I am. You're just going to have to deal with it. Life is constantly moving forward. Things are constantly changing. The universe is constantly expanding. You're getting older by the second. So there is no such thing as this is how I am. You always have an opportunity to grow. So take that opportunity whenever you see it, okay? Don't make other people deal with things just because you don't want to deal with things. Because we don't want to deal with them if you don't want to deal with them. The last point that I want to leave with you is negative is not always evil. Don't think that you are inherently bad or intrinsically bad because of the qualities that your shadow self possesses, because of the qualities that you possess on your bad day. This is just an aspect of being human. So don't beat yourself up about your negative traits. Just confront them and fix them. So this has been our 6th episode of Tunde Talks. Today we talked about our shadow self. I'm really excited about this episode. Going forward, I want to do some more episodes with you guys and also do some episodes outside of Tunde Talks where we're going to be talking about some plants. We're going to be talking about some Harry Potter nerdom. I'm really excited about these things to come. If you enjoyed this content, please subscribe to this channel. If you want to be alerted about new episodes, please hit the notification button as well. Peace. Feeling like I made a lot of men some lucky bastards. I was your most beautiful disaster. You'll think of me forever after as the magic you can never master. Molding them like hardened plaster, embolden them to pick my aster. But a flower plucked is a flower doomed. Clouds without silver linings loomed. For what is the best way to love a flower than to let her blossom in spring showers?